Hi all, I'm Cullen Haynes and welcome to Live with Cullen Haynes, episode 47. And my next guest has had 10 years in the people space and started her own firm in June 2021. And we're going to be here talking about work that works. She's a facilitator, trainer, author, award-winning coach. So can you please make very welcome the one, the only, Miss Ellen Hooper. Welcome, Ellen. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. I feel like I should be running down the aisle of a game show. It's like
or like a Tony Robbins thing, jumping on the stage like this.
Do a Tom Cruise, yeah.
No, on the couch, absolutely. But I'd love to ask you, what is happening in your world at the moment, and what is it that you do in a nutshell for those that are tuning in and watching for the first time?
Awesome. I was just telling you, in my world, I've got a 6-year-old with a broken leg that's almost healed. So always a bit of chaos here. I've got a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old. I'm kind of at my core an executive coach. So I run a career coaching program for professionals who know something needs to change but don't know exactly what. That's my specialty. So that's called Your Next Move.
Yes.
And then I do lots of work with organizations on culture and training and executive coaching and kind of basically trying to see if we can make workplaces better. Fingers crossed. It's a lifelong piece of work. Yeah.
Do you find that workplaces think they're doing things well and then you come in and say, actually, no, that's not the case?
No, I think they know. Yeah. I think they know. I think they know they could do with some extra help. Yeah.
Makes sense. And if you could explain your long and storied career using just film titles, how do you think you'd go about doing that?
That's such an epic question. And I'm not a massive movie watcher, so let me have a think. I think there's definitely a Legally Blonde in there because I feel like I was an accidental lawyer. So I started my career as a lawyer. I was a massive nerd in high school. I got good marks and I just really thought I was only allowed to study medicine or law. And it breaks my heart as a career coach I am now. Just never considered any other pathways. But I'm afraid of blood. So I was like, I'm required to be a lawyer. So it's hard. So that's kind of explains the start of my career. And now my husband and I were just watching the other night the movie The Materialist. So unfortunately, I don't have a love triangle going on, but I did think that kind of movie was all about defining your own success. And that's a really big part of the work that I do and how I run my own life as well.
Well, I'd love to ask, what sparked your interest in, going from the law world to becoming an executive coach? How do you end up specializing in company and team coaching? Because it's such a different shift, right? I bet when you finished, school and uni, you didn't think this is what I want to do or this is what I'll be doing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of crying in my office. That's on one of the most beautiful buildings in Melbourne. Is kind of how that happened. It's interesting, and I think so much of our careers get cemented from what we knew to be possible when we were 17, 18 years old.
Yes.
Yes. I didn't know that this was a job. I didn't know that people could do this, but a real interest in people has always been a big part, people and systems. I actually studied international relations along with my law degree. And I did an internship at AusAid. So I was quite on the precipice of following a really different path. But then it was the global financial crisis and a big top tier firm offered me a job and it seemed silly not to take it. I remember thinking my graduate salary was so much money. And it just took me a while to kind of find my way back to the things that I really loved. Yeah.
I love that. And it sounds like you're very passionate about what you do, evidently. And there's obviously, we'll get to it, but there's a bit of an announcement, an intensive that's coming up that if people that are tuning in, interested in doing, that's closing out very soon. Is that right?
It is. Yeah, Friday. So we booked this in months ago. So this is incredibly accidentally well-timed. I should probably get better at deliberately, intentionally timing things like this, but this is a real gift. So Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. And in terms of, we've called the episode Work That Works.
Mhm.
Where did the phrase come from, and what does it actually mean in practice, would you say?
Yeah. I actually, it's just something I was playing with kind of at the start of my business, I guess, journey. Sorry, we should have a drinking game for gross organizational buzzwords. But because of my background as an employment lawyer and in HR, I really think of
Yeah.
that quite holistically. It's like work needs to work for you as an individual. It needs to work for the life you want to live, for your family, for your relationships.
Yeah.
And it also kind of needs to work for whoever it is that pays the bill. So that might be an employer or that might be a client. And I love a puzzle. I love to be like, okay, well, how do we actually really intentionally design and make those things all fit together? I think most people, particularly in this current environment and economy, and I work with a lot of lawyers in my career coaching business, it's really easy to just be like, it's just impossible, and that makes sense. The data is only 27% of Australians love their work. So we look around and 75% of people are having a pretty bad time, and we're like, well, I could make a change. I could change jobs. I could restructure my life in some way, but really, what is the point? And that's what I'm so passionate about, because my work means that I get to see people doing that all the time. And so my belief in it being possible isn't just kind of optimistic hope. It's like that my brain is wired to be like, yeah, absolutely, we can sort this out. Like, give me 8 weeks, we'll go. And that's what I love about you, Cullen, because you're like, yep, let's go, let's do it, give it a try, take some action.
Absolutely. But one thing I don't do, I don't think I incorporate enough Lego serious play in my day. So I'd
No
love
one
to
does.
know, walk us through what that actually looks like in a room full of executives who are coming from a very traditional kind of background and serious workplace. How does that come into expecting a normal workshop when you walk in and you break out the Lego? Tell me more.
Oh man, I could talk about this all day. I actually just ran a Lego Serious Play workshop with 100 risk managers at the Risk Managers Association conference. So
Yes.
anything that you can do with a Post-it note, you can do with Lego, basically. So it's a really cool way for us to formulate ideas, and it makes you think differently. It taps into a different part of your brain. You're using your hands. You
Yes.
have to simplify your ideas. You can't hide behind like diplomatic buzzwords, and it allows you to kind of think of things visually and creatively. And so it's awesome for, I've had teams design, what do you want your kind of executive team culture to look like? What's not going well in a strategy right now? Like Cullen, if we're working together, I'd be like, let's build your 12-month plan for your business. Where's your work-life design kind of falling apart? So yeah, it taps into a different way of thinking, and it's really fun. Like, I think, I'm a big fan.
Sounds fun.
It is fun. I'm a big fan of Brené Brown. I think organizations kind of built this like vulnerability is the key to unlocking connection and collaboration. I think there's a time and place for that. I haven't yet met a team that has the emotional capability to do that safely. And so I just think we can just get really similar outcomes of connection and creativity with fun over kind of like, what's your deepest, darkest secret? So that's how I like to work.
Absolutely. And if you're tuning in, we are speaking to Ellen Hooper, coach and facilitator. We're talking about the Lego serious play that she incorporates. And if you like what you're hearing, please follow Ellen and definitely tune into what she's doing and sign up for this wonderful intensive that's coming on Friday that's closing out. What's a surprising skill, Ellen, that's helped you in your role as a coach, but as a keynote speaker and MC? I'd like to unpack that a little bit.
I think my transition from lawyer to coach could really be defined by learning how to listen. So when I was a lawyer and then even a HR professional, we're advice addicts. Like, that's how we're valuable. You got a problem, I know how to solve it. I'm the expert. I'm going to give you some advice. And becoming a coach, yeah. was so life-changing because it was like, whoa, we could actually just listen. It made me realize that I'd gone for kind of almost 3 decades of my life without really listening. So I think that's the surprising skill that kind of unlocks it all. And it's so funny, like it doesn't come naturally to me. I still have to kind
Really?
of work on it, sit on my hands. Yeah. And
Oh my gosh.
coaching, what's so beautiful about coaching is seeing that other people know what's best for them more than you do. And it's really nice to lots of lawyers, lots of us really hold so tightly. We feel like we're responsible for everything. We feel like if we make a tiny mistake, the whole world's going to fall apart. So having
Yes.
trust that other people can take responsibility for themselves, that they can support you, that they can make good decisions. Yeah, it's been a really big change to kind of how I view the world and that I just enjoy it so much more now. The
I
antidote for
love that.
anxiety.
I love that. And on the polar opposite side of the spectrum, what's the worst piece of career advice you've ever heard someone give with a straight face that they seriously believe? Maybe it's to you, maybe it's
Yeah.
from one of your clients or workplaces that have said this.
I think there's this belief that you have to stay in a job for a certain period of time. So most people will be like, it's 12 months. And I just
Oh,
think
yeah.
that's
Or 2 years.
bullshit.
12 months to 2 years
Whatever,
seems to be the
so
magic
5
formula.
years, it's so arbitrary. And I just think if it's not working for you, there's you just need your current job to get your next job. The whole kind
I
of
love that.
from a kind of really basic legal, and I'm such a bad employment lawyer now because I haven't had my practicing certificate for 9 years. So I'm not insured, guys. This isn't legal advice. But the basic tenet is that employment isn't slavery. That's kind of one of the most basic principles. So if it's not working for you, you don't have to stay. And I think the idea that there's a magic number of time that's going to ruin your reputation or your opportunities in the future is just not true.
You're not a tree. You can leave if you want.
Absolutely.
And move on to something else, as Jim Rohn would say. Well, I want to keep on digging a little bit deeper on these things to be as polarizing as we can. What we talked about jargon before. What would you permanently retire if it was one piece of corporate jargon? What would you get rid of and ban it? And why would you get rid of it?
I feel like this is controversial, but I hate the phrase that all you can do is your best.
Oh, gosh, come on, guys. Yeah.
Because it's superlative. So no one's doing their best every day. Are you kidding? No, that's the whole point. And I just think it's raises such a high bar.
Yeah.
And I just find it to be really toxic. You can't do your best work every single day. People are not showing up with their best intentions every single day. It's fine. Some days you do great work and some days you're tired, and that's okay.
That's all right. You're a human. You're not AI, which is probably a good thing. Otherwise, you'll start hallucinating and making big mistakes, as we've seen. And talking about mistakes,
accidentally committing crimes and hacking into other organizations' backends. So.
Absolutely. Or I saw the other a couple of months ago deleting an entire CRM database, and then when they said, "Why did you do that?" they were like, "Oh, sorry." Sorry about that. Didn't realize, when it makes mistakes, it's like, oh yeah, that's not a good thing to do. Nonetheless, talking about dysfunction and things going wrong, what is the most dysfunctional team culture you've ever had to walk into and, roll up the sleeves and fix?
I just think all of the teams I work with come back to a key kind of theme of we just can't tell each other the truth. So, and there's all kinds of different iterations of how that comes to be. And human beings are so fascinating because we are yeah, absolutely. We're moving through the world with this ancient hardware. So Tom Harkin from Tomorrow Architect, I heard him talk about that probably about 5 years ago, and it's always stuck with me. In in a lot of ways we're just tribal, and so the world's evolved really quickly, but our neuro, pathways haven't evolved quite so fast. So if we lived in tribal times and you and I were in a tribe, Cullen, and you got annoyed with me and you kicked me out of the tribe, it's like I would die because I just wouldn't have food or shelter or water. And so that's why when we get like a passive aggressive email, part of our neurology is like saying to us like, you're going to die. And it's I think why, when I work with teams, sometimes the things that are playing out are so like objectively silly. That's so silly. But it all comes back to this idea about how do you signal safety? How do you communicate with each other in a way that your like nervous system can stay regulated for? And doing that in a group is like genuinely hard. So, but like almost every team I work with has some version of that, and it's just kind of unlayering what structurally and systemically has caused that. It very, very rarely comes from poor intention. There's some awesome research that of the genuine workplace bullies that are very available for you to meet in a range of organizations. A really small percent of them, I think it's about 10%, are acting that way because they want to upset you.
Yes.
The vast majority are unskilled, so they don't have the skills they need to operate in a different way, or this kind of stubborn stuckness, like, oh, well, that's just what I'm like.
Well, that's the way we've always done it, or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Or that's how I was treated. So like you can suck it up and deal with that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is some cogent points you make, and talking about like that tribal mindset. It reminded me of, I do love Robert Greene's books, The Laws of Power, and all the things that he talks about. And he talks about the ostraca back in Athens, and that back in the day you'd vote the person you wanted to vote out, and then you'd cast them out, literally. Do you think we need to stigmatize or destigmatize this communication, or call it out? Like, what is the remedy for it when there's so many passive aggressive things that you see in the workplace and gaslighting, where people will say, as per my email, or even just basic stuff like that. Do you agree that we need to like shine a light on it? Is it healthy to do that? Like, what is the first thing you do when you not attack, but like try and work through these things that you see?
So truly shifting a team or organizational culture is like complex and nuanced, and it actually requires interventions and shifts at multiple levels. So you need individuals to shift. You need everyone to kind of go, I play a tiny role in this. What is it? What can I do differently? You need one-on-one relationships to shift, and then you need how the group kind of works together. It's very rare that I won't start with helping a group have some common language for different preferences. Okay. Almost all conflict can kind of go back to like, I have this strength and these values, and so I expect everyone to operate like this, and you have these strengths and these values, and so you expect everyone to operate like this. And when our preferences are most furthest apart, usually I will assume that you're being a jerk, when often it's just like we're just different. The thing we talk about most, I think, in society is like this extrovert introvert idea. And I think it's not the only way to think about preferences, but it's just we all kind of can relate to that. Like, I am genuinely a 20 out of 20 extrovert. And so when I come across the 20 out of 20 introvert, it can be easy for me to be like, that person's a bit rude. That person's a bit dismissive. They probably think about me like, my God, that person's so intense. She's so loud. Like, she's in my face. Like, she's so intrusive. And so when we have these like dramatically opposed preferences, it's really hard for us to think well of each other. So mostly when I work with teams, that's what I'll start with. Let's just have some language for different preferences. And then from there, the biggest thing I'll do with them is we actually co-create the intervention that's going to be most useful. And I'm a big fan of do one thing, do it well. I hate a 20-point plan for a culture change.
Oh my goodness, please. Yeah. Please. Absolutely.
I want one shift, and I want it to be integrated, and then we can find another one.
No, I'm really endeared by what you're saying about the language and naming it. When you name it, you kind of bring it to light. What about, like, I'm sure there's a place for it with Wiley's disc profile. I know I'm an ID influencer direct. Any value in labels like that, or is that again maybe obfuscating it a
massively.
little bit? Okay,
No,
good.
no, I love a quadrant model. I'm a bit what I call tool agnostic, and that's personality tools,
Yeah.
not assholes. But so it's, but yeah, DISC is something I work with a lot. There's lots of other great tools out there, but just that kind of
Myers-Briggs, yes.
Totally, just that kind of like we've got this label for it, and you know, it means that we can talk about it in a way doesn't feel like I'm telling you're a jerk and you're telling me that I suck. So that's what I like about those kind of tools. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And you are dealing with some high intense emotions, high pressure situations. How do you unwind after a particularly tough day of coaching and facilitating, Ellen? What do you get up to?
That's so funny. That's because it's like my favorite thing to do is to think about people and systems. So I find it really energizing.
Oh gosh.
Yes, but what I do, like I said, 2020 extrovert, always very happy for a social connection and a catch up. Do quite a bit of yoga.
Lovely.
To turn the brain off. Hang out with the kids. We're my 6-year-old is learning to play piano at the moment, so that's been fun to kind of get back to those old days when I used to play as well. So that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's so nice. Sharing the skills, Ellen, bringing back the Tchaikovsky and the Bachs and the Mozarts, I'm sure.
She'll be lapping me in like 30 seconds and she'll be teaching me.
I love that. And I want to maybe switch gears and talk about the passion projects you're working on. You got the workshop coming up. Any more details you'd like to share about that? Where can people find out more about it? Where can they join, or maybe some details about what the event is?
Yeah, perfect. All of the information about how you can work with me, whether you're an organization or a law firm. I do lots of work with law firms in training on business development or giving feedback or on team workshops like we kind of just talked through, is all at ellenhooper.com. But I am very excited because I have my next cohort of the program I run called Your Next Move starting on Monday. So Friday's the last chance to join. We actually have a few lawyers in this cohort, which is very cool.
Wow.
So that's kind of
Your
like,
next move.
if you have been like, I'm not sure that things are going well for me at work, or I'm not sure about my job, the most common thing is actually like, I just do not know where to start. I have no idea how to make a change. So that's kind of my specialty. That's what we work through. It's over 8 weeks. It's a really small group. It's a structured kind of build. We work through your priorities, your work-life design, the timeline for your career, your strengths, and we come up with individual strategies for the type of change you want to make and how you might like to make it. I guarantee it's going to be easier to make a change than you think it is. I have people come in all the time saying, I'm going to have to do an MBA, or I'm going to have to study something else, or I'm going to have to take a pay cut. Yeah, exactly. Like it's really fun. And yeah, you'll get super clear. You'll get to spend lots of time with me, which hopefully is enticing and not terrifying. And yes, if you want to have a chat about that, you can also head to ellenhooper.com and we can book in a chat and see if it's a good fit for you.
So ellenhooper.com, your next move, get on it. And spaces are limited, so please get amongst it as well. We all stand on the shoulders of giants there, Ellen. Who's been the most influential mentor in your life and why?
What a good question. Well, I mean, classically, obviously, my mum. It's very interesting. So my mum was a stay-at-home mum because I was born in the 80s. But hilariously, she was like never interested in that kind of like 50s, the house looking great. She hated making dinner. And she was always the president of every like school council for every educational institution I've ever been in. And it's quite funny, my dad had a traditional job. He was a partner in an engineering consulting firm. But I learned so much about leadership from watching her kind of move through the world. She's probably raised like millions of dollars for different institutions over the course of her life. So yeah, a really big inspiration. And what I love about her now in her 70s, she is such a continuous learner. So I remember after I had my first baby and I was working as an in-house lawyer, and she was like, oh, well, you're obviously going to go back to work part-time. And I was like, oh, I actually think I want to go back full-time. And you could see her little brain being like, I don't know about that. And she kind of thought about it for a couple of weeks. And then she turned into like my biggest advocate for the way that my husband and I kind of split our parenting and structure our life. And yeah, she's always kind of learning about new things. And she's the shoulders that I stand on for sure.
Absolutely. What an advocate to have in your corner and role model.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Hopefully she's watching and re-listening to this.
She was the first to like anything on Instagram, so I'm sure.
I'm sure. Absolutely. Now we're coming towards the end of the stream. So I'd love to ask you, what would you like to see change in how businesses handle culture and career development? And where do you think it's going in the next 10 years in the age of AI?
I think the thing I'm really interested in working with businesses at the moment is we kind of do this classic thing where as an organization, the powers that be work out that there needs to be a strategy change. That's fine. That makes heaps of sense to me. And then we kind of go, the CEO kind of goes, well, this is the new strategy and you can be on the bus or not. And I think the thing I find with most people in organizations is we never teach the skills about working out whether an organization is a good fit for you, and if it's not, what to do about it. And it's really interesting in times of epic change inside of an organization, which hello AI is just constant. I don't think that's going to change in the next 10 years. I think change will just get faster. You'll find in times of instability, the people who you want to stay in an organization, who are the most kind of agile, they're the first to leave because they back themselves. And so then you end up trying to make this big strategic change, and the people you have in your organization are the ones who are really risk averse, who really value stability, and who maybe aren't a good fit for the strategy that you want to put in place, but they feel really stuck and they don't know what to do. So that's what I'd love to see organizations doing better, is going, there's like a human skill here about working out, do I stay, go, or grow? And like, let's actually help our people get better at that, because it's going to benefit us in the long term as well.
I love that kind of mindset. It's kind of like that idea of what if we train our people and they leave? It's like, what if you don't, and you don't invest in them and they stay? Like, that's probably a bigger risk. So I think I'm picking up what you're putting down, Ellen. I think they're amazing insights there. What are the lessons for young professionals listening, tuning in, watching, that are building a career right now? What would you have liked to have known, or someone tell you when you were starting your career in law or coaching?
Yeah, I think the thing that can really make you stand out at the early stages of your career is like, sorry, boring, I'm such a Gen Y, but it's taking initiative. And I think there's a lot of challenge. We rely on the next generation to rock the boat. Like, we rely that they are, because they can live with their parents and they don't have mortgages and kids like us. So like, thank you Gen Z and the upcoming Gen Alpha. Like, that is, Gen X brought in flexible work, Gen Y brought work from home. Like, every generation is meant to kind of break the system up. And so I think that's a fair and important thing to do if you're a young person in the workplace. And if you can really think from someone else's perspective, if you can think, what's it like to be the senior associate? Like, what's it like to be the partner? How can I be the most useful? I think that's just incredibly, it evolves you as a person to be an adult, but also very career defining, can really help you stand out. And the easiest practical shift I have, if you're early in your career, is just to shift a problem to a recommendation. So often juniors will be like, here's a problem. And it's like, yeah, there is a problem. That's really fair. Like, that's correct, true. But if you can be like, here's a problem, I have thought about it, and this is what I recommend that we do, I think that can just shift you into a new level. Now, someone more senior than you might be like, that's a lovely thought, and here are the 5 reasons why we're going to do something different. And that's totally fine. Doesn't mean you've got it wrong, but just kind of showing that I'm not just taking a problem and throwing it to you, that I'm kind of taking it and going, I will help you fix it. I just might need some help helping you. I think those are the people that stand out early in their career.
Absolutely. And on that last point, I remember we once had Andy Fell on the show. He was the old ex-GM of St. George Bank. And he said he used to hate it when people walked into his office and bring him 2 problems. And it's like, you want me to solve it? It's like, so what he'd do is he'd reframe it and go, come back to me with 2 solutions, each of you. Because otherwise you're just solving problems for people.
Our senior associates, special counsels, partners, managers, more experienced people who are listening. So the best thing you can do to train people is to go, and what do you think we should do next?
I love that. What would you do here, Janice? Luke? Come on.
What do you recommend?
Absolutely. And my final question, before we get into some quick bonus ones, when all is said and done one day, Ellen, and you shift off this mortal coil, how would you one day like to be remembered?
As a great parent.
That's special. And it sounds like you already are with all the wonderful things you do with your children as well.
Oh, thanks.
Sorry you couldn't go to Bali, though.
Yeah, we were laughing because I've had to cancel our trip to Bali because my 6-year-old broke her leg, and I was like, it's such a white first world grief that it's fine. It's totally fine. My poor kids with their HR mum, though, they get a lot of coaching questions. Once my kid was like, can you stop telling me you love me? Like, I know. Okay, mate, no worries.
Oh, that's so special. That's so special. Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for not only being an incredible mum, but obviously an incredible coach, and everything you're doing in the space. Where can people find you? Where are you hanging out the most, Ellen, if people want to learn about it? ellenhooper.com, LinkedIn, where else?
Yes, I love connecting on LinkedIn. You know how sometimes it's like maybe that person doesn't want to be my friend. Like I want to be a LinkedIn connection. Come and say
You're
hi.
lying. Open to connect. Come on.
Yeah, and then I'm on Instagram at ellen.hooper.coach, which is where the kind of most unhinged stuff
love that.
comes.
Love that.
And I think the most you get most access to my inner thoughts and feelings if you sign up for Work Wife, my weekly email about where workplace wisdom meets office gossip. So you usually get quite a bit of insight into what's happening in my life. So that's just down the bottom.
That's a good one.
Yeah, down the bottom at ellenhooper.com. So if you want all the goss, you can come and join me there.
Sign up. Thank you so much for joining episode 47 there, Ellen. It's been fantastic. We'll bring you back with some bonus questions in just a moment. And if you are a legend who want to chat about everything you're doing in the space that you're building, we come out every Wednesday on Live with Cullen Haynes, Law Live for Lawyers and Ledger Legends as well. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking the podcast. It really helps us get this everywhere. And if you have any suggestions, queries, thoughts, or concerns, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn as well as Ellen suggested. I'm there wherever you are. All the best, everyone. Have a happy Wednesday and make it count and take care. Bringing you back, Ellen, if you could explain work that works to my 2-year-old son, Lockie, how would you make it easy for him to understand?
So I'd say, Lockie, when you're a grown-up, it's really helpful to earn money because money helps you buy toys and food, and it's really fun, and lollies. But when you go and earn money, you want to have a good time, right?
Of course.
Just like when you're at school, you learn better if you're having a good time and you feel good. And so that's what work that works is, Lockie. It's about getting your work done, getting your schoolwork done, and feeling like you're ready to learn while you're doing it.
I love that. Very simple, and I'm sure he'll be re-listening in many years to come and go, Ellen told me first, Dad. Ellen told me first. How would your team describe you in 3 words?
Oh, interesting. I mean, passionate for sure. Passionate, chatty, and I think funny. I hope they think funny too. One of my mentors used to be like, if you want someone to think you're funny, don't tell them you're funny, tell them a joke. So that was hard for me, but that's what I like to think.
I love that. I love that. And the final question of the whole stream, if you could go back in time, speak to a younger version of Ellen Hooper and give her advice at any age, when would you go back and visit yourself? And what would the specific advice be that you'd give your younger version of Ellen Hooper? Hopefully they'd say, oh my gosh, you look exactly as I do now. You haven't aged at all.
Gosh, that's very tricky. And where would I go back to? I think I just go back to my early 20s and just go like follow your intuition more.
I love that.
I think lots of the best things in life don't make any sense.
Yeah, I think so. You can't plan it. It's so circuitous, right? So just trust your gut, follow that instinct.
I just posted an article I wrote for Mamma Mia on LinkedIn about rage quitting, which I'm a fan of, which I'm pro. And I just had a lot of comments.
Now. That's it.
Yeah, I was like, okay, maybe we misunderstood the definition of rage quitting. Like, I'm not suggesting you throw the desktop computer out the window.
No,
just think
no.
You're like, I've had
call
enough.
Everyone an F-wit and punch anyone or hurt anyone or anything like that. No.
I'm just like, if your kind of body and intuition is like, I've had enough now, that's just as good a reason to move on. Then I got a lot of comments like, it's better to be strategic, don't burn any bridges. And I just think your intuition often knows before your brain makes sense of it. Yeah.
So trust that. I think those are all fantastic insights there, Ellen. And anyone who's joining for your intensive coming up is sure in for a treat. Thank you for doing what you're doing. And thanks for coming on the Live with Cullen Haynes show today, Ellen. It's been fantastic.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All the best, everyone. Have a great Wednesday and take care. Hey there, Cullen Haynes here, Australia's leading broker for lawyers on LinkedIn, and here's why I want to talk to you today about my book, my new book, The Laws of LinkedIn, 23 ways to find your tribe, build your following, and make 7 figures on LinkedIn. When I started this journey 7 years ago, when we built, myself and Andrew, my business partner, we built Legal Home Loans from the ground up, the pain point for us was we were at a standing start. No one knew who we were. We had no money, we had no contacts, and basically we had to find a way to make our voice heard, talk to our tribe, the legal community, and build trust. And the only thing we had at our disposal was LinkedIn, which was and still is free. There's over 1 billion people on LinkedIn, and I wish when I started I had this book with me to guide me, because I basically distilled my 23 top leading hacks that we use to build our business to a 7+ figure, and I really want to get it out there and share it with you. So if you're